Hello, 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 and good morning, my friends. It's 9:45 a.m. And you know what that means? It's time for Java with Jen. It's mushroom coffee. Java with Jen, Java with Jen. Pop, pop, pop. My friend got me into mushroom coffee. I think we talked about this before. I'm so excited to be with you today on this beautiful Wednesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those that don't know me, my name's Jen Koken. I am your favorite executive leadership coach, working with women in male-dominated industries to lead with more authority, influence, and impact. And what that looks like is you are authentic to who you are down to your core, and you are inspiring your team. And when you bring those two together, they collide and you make the impact you want to make. All this month, we've been talking about authentic power. Remember, I said we're starting a new monthly series. We're talking about authentic power this month. And specifically today, I'm very excited to have this guest. She is going to be on for 2 episodes of Java with Jen, because she's going to be talking with us about strategic communication for senior leaders. And I have known Shoshana French for 25 years. She is an extraordinary CEO, and she helps senior female leaders and other CEOs stop analysis paralysis through the power of intuitive decision making. She either coaches and trains you to use your own, or she will use hers to help you produce the results that you want to produce. She has coached and trained more than 10,000 people in 25 countries. Isn't that amazing? And before I bring her on, just a reminder, shameless plug, my book, please buy one. That would be great. Right now, if you go to jenkokenbook.com and buy a copy of my book, Make Imposter Syndrome Your Superpower, you send me the receipt, I'm going to send you a free ebook to read on your Kindle. That way you can leave that lovely book at home so you don't lose it on the airplane, and bring your Kindle with you. Now, let me bring on Shoshana, and we're going to start a conversation about the 3 most important tools for communication for leaders. So give me a sec, and here she comes. Here she comes, my friend Shoshana. Welcome to Java with Jen, Show. Java with Jen, Java with Jen. Java
Mine
with,
has a straw because I don't like hot coffee. I like cold brew.
Oh, even in the winter? Like even when it's colder?
Every day of the year. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Well, first of all, thank you for being here. I appreciate you for taking the time to be with me and everybody else who's watching right now. And is there anything, first of all, that I missed in your bio when I read that amazing bio about you? Anything else you want people to know? Like, oh, you're a triathlete.
Yeah, I did my very first triathlon in 2024, and now I will be doing more because it's really fun.
What? I have to say about that. I'm not, I cycle, but I'm not a triathlete. But it's fun for you.
I think the only other thing that is never in my bio, but I think is is I am a reader, and there is no topic that's actually not of interest to me. And so why I've been able to work with people from all different countries is because people and their stories fascinate and interest me genuinely. And so that's my favorite part about what I do, is just getting to meet new people and like genuinely helping them succeed. So I love that.
Wow. I love that too. I love that for the people you help. And by the way, Shoshana was my coach, I want to say back in 2017. And the key for me, she's going to talk about some of this, is she really assists people in this whole business of analysis paralysis. My particular version, and I would call it my version of imposter syndrome, was questioning and doubting myself so much I kept looking to everybody else for advice and guidance. And you taught me to stop the analysis paralysis by training me how to lock in to listening to my gut and listening to my intuition and trust myself. That's really key. And she's really, really good at what she does. FYI, shameless plug for show. Today, we want to talk about communication strategies for senior leaders. By the way, I have a new series we're launching also called the Empowering Expert Series. And she is going to be one of those experts talking about, for a full hour live with everybody that shows up, communication tools for mastering communication tools for senior leaders. But today specifically, you were talking to me about how you give these keynotes, and one of them were like 3 keys
Yeah,
for
3 simple tools that all leaders need to succeed.
3 simple tools that all leaders need to succeed. What
Yeah,
are those tools?
they're really simple. I'm just kidding. Okay, so number 1 number
Waka
1,
waka.
practice
She'll be
waka
here all
waka.
week.
Sorry, we're both really comedic and we just can't help
We
ourselves.
are.
So
And we've been friends a long time,
a
so,
really long
there's
time.
that. Yeah.
So 1, practice listening.
What?
And I don't mean like not talking and listening with your ears. I actually mean something a little more than that, but we'll get to that. 2, collaborate, like collaborate with your people. Don't try to control them. Controlling people, as you know, none of us like to be controlled. So if you're trying to lead a team and you're trying to control them, it might work in the immediate, but over the long term, the wheels are going to pop off the bus. And then the last one is redefining integrity. Um,
Mm.
Not in a way that integrity means like people can do whatever they want without any regard for other people, but just in recognizing the definition that you have for integrity and how that might be impacting your leadership. So
So
practicing listening, collaboration, not control, and redefining integrity. Those are the
I
3
love
simple
it.
tools.
Okay, and I love first of all, I love that I always say, give the headline first. I always say, talk about what you're gonna talk about, say what you're gonna talk about what you're gonna talk about, and then say what you just talked about. Always lead with the headline. So you just demonstrated that, and I think that's really important for especially for women because we at times take a long time to get to a point. Case in point, I hosted a New Year's Day brunch and a dear friend was there with us. And I think we had a couple questions going around the room. First concert, favorite concert. And she gave us this whole story that was super interesting and entertaining. But by the end of it, I was like, so what was your favorite concert? Because she never said it. But we don't realize we're doing that. So I really appreciated you led with the headline first. So let's talk about the very practice listening. And what I caught from what you said was you said I have a different when you said listening, it's not what you think. So tell us what you mean by practice listening and what listening is.
Well, obviously, we need to be aware of when we've talked too much and not gotten to the point, as you just said, about your friend on New Year's Eve
She's
brunch.
adorable. I'm like, really?
And to be totally fair to the people like y'all watching this Java with Jen, with me here with her, like I am sometimes that is me. Sometimes I don't really get to my point.
Me too.
But what I mean by practicing listening is be aware of how the way that you view people and the way you view yourself in relationship to other people affects how you listen.
Mm,
So I think more effective listening is just being responsible for how you view people so that as they're talking to you, you can understand and recognize that it actually affects how you hear what they say. Case in point, if you are like hanging out with your best friend and the two of you leave and then you're texting each other from your car and you're like, thank you so much. That was the best time. I love you. How you listen them, like you just had the best time with them, and how you listen to them, how you think of them, the way you relate to them, as if
your
they love
opinion
you
of them.
unconditionally.
Your opinion of them. Could that be a
Right,
way to
your
say?
opinion. Yeah, opinion
Okay.
is a good word for it. So that's maybe I collapse those 2 things. Listening, basically opinion affects your opinion of other people affects then how you hear the words and the tone and the message they meant and the way that they're trying to have you understand what they're delivering, their communication, right? So case in point, your best friend, they send you this text, you're like, "Oh, I'm filled with so much love." And then they say in a text, "Listen, at the end, we had agreed to split breakfast and you didn't offer your credit card. So I felt a little uncomfortable. Would you mind Venmoing me?" Now, if your best friend sends that to you, you're like, "Oh my God, I totally forgot." You Venmo them. Probably not a big deal.
Right.
But imagine this is someone from work that you went to lunch with. They're a member of your team that you're a leader of. And you go to lunch and the same exact thing. You get back to the office, you go back to your desk, and then you get a message from your coworker, and there's someone you find particularly challenging because you don't see eye to eye on things. They don't always agree with the ideas you have or the way that you deliver things like timelines or critiques of their work. And they like same exact thing. They send you a text, "Hey, by the way, thank you. That was a great lunch. Would you mind Venmoing me for lunch? We had agreed to split it." potentially you might get
Yeah.
that text and you might be
Yeah.
like, well, what a jerk. Why didn't they tell me at the restaurant? That would have been
Yeah.
so easy. Like a whole bunch of things may pop in your brain because your opinion of that person and potentially their opinion of you affects then the communications you get from them, whether it's a voice to voice, like face to face, text messages, memos within, it actually affects us. So when we practice listening, we just ask ourselves this question: is this engagement we're having really as combative as we think? Or is my opinion of them or how I think they have an opinion of me, is it affecting how I'm hearing this communication? How I'm actually,
Mm.
defining the communication they're giving me? It was my best friend saying this, would I read this communication the same way? If this was one of my trusted other C-suite or leaders from my team, would I think the same way? Is
Right.
it because my opinion of this person is that they're combative, that I'm reading their message or receiving their message in a combative way? It makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference. You had me think of two things. One is because you were the first person when I worked with you and we began looking at somatic leadership
Mhm.
and where I felt things in my body, that noticing in your body, because I always talk about this with imposter phenomenon too, is noticing the circumstances and situations that feel heavy, that make you tense. So number one, when you're receiving those messages, noticing what that feels like to you. And I think number two, assuming you already have an opinion about everybody and everything. So rather, is my opinion, okay, well, what's my opinion about this person? I love this person, or they consistently interrupt me. So why the heck would I go out of my way to do anything for them? Oh, I do have an opinion, because I think it's important to take that step back and say, yep, I've got an opinion about everyone and everything, good, bad, or indifferent. There's an opinion, and my opinions color the way I'm interacting or hearing what someone has to say or how I'm listening to someone. Very good. So the first simple tool is listen. How did you phrase it? You said it was simple.
Practice listening.
Practice listening, aka identify the opinions you have that are impacting the way you're taking in information negatively. So
Yeah,
practice listening.
practice
Okay.
listening.
Number two, collaboration.
Not control.
Not, ooh, yeah.
So all of us have had an experience of herding cats
Underwater.
at the end of a long day, like
Yep.
not fun.
Yep.
And especially women in male dominated, industries, especially STEM, where maybe you have a whole team of engineers and you're like trying to get everybody on the same page and they're not like picking up your subtle cues. Like,
Yep.
okay, come on, let's go, like
Yep.
go to your desk, let's get on to what's next. And so you're like trying to herd them instead of having everybody be on the same page. Now, collaboration, in my experience of coaching people, especially in leadership positions and with teams, is figuring out what the shared outcome is. Like everybody has to have a shared outcome. And I don't mean like what's the date by when their part of the deliverables have to be finished so the whole team can get the thing done. I don't mean that. I mean, what is the shared experience that everyone on the team wants to have? And
Mm.
sometimes that takes a little bit extra to get everybody to agree to a shared outcome. But there can be really simple ones like working on this team is supportive. It's a supportive place to work. It could be we want to be seen as the leaders in the industry. That could be a shared outcome. It could be that we want to always deliver on time. That's the shared outcome. So when you notice that you're herding cats underwater at the end of a long day, when you're like having that experience where you're wanting to tell people what to do and like shove people towards, like what you want to have happen, what there is in that moment is okay, go back to that shared outcome that we've all agreed to, remind everybody of that, and then have people reflect on just in that moment what's their part of that shared outcome. Then everyone moves together. It's kind of like if we're all playing from the same sheet music, a symphony makes sense. But if
Hmm.
we're playing from 5 different songs in every different section, you could just imagine that would be a terrible concert.
Yeah. I would
Maybe
walk out.
not your favorite concert that you've
Not
ever
my
been
favorite
to.
concert. So could you also say that you're establishing the why?
Yeah, that's a great way to say it.
You're establishing the why, and it's some shared outcome that's going to leave everybody, hopefully breathe life into the team, inspiration, leave everyone inspired because you've breathed life into the team.
I love that. Breathe life into the team. I think the opposite is when someone
That's
sucks the
control,
air out
right?
of the room.
Yeah.
And when you are, and I've seen it, and people don't always mean that, don't recognize that they're doing it, but when they are having the experience of people not listening or following instruction, they like crack the whip, for lack of a better word, and they suck the air out of the room. And there is like nobody wants to be at the receiving end of that. So I have just found a more effective long-term strategy is collaboration versus trying to control, like using force to get the outcome that you want.
Right. And what I love about that is specifically you stated collaboration isn't about how I'm going to get my piece done in order to get across the finish line. It's no, what is the shared vision? What's the shared outcome? What's the direction we're all headed in that's going to leave us all feeling more alive than we were before we began to work together? And
Yeah.
I've seen all too often where people do suck the life out of the room, and it's a very directive style of leadership, telling people what to do, which doesn't work because then the leaders that I coach then complain too many people are coming to them asking questions. Well, that's because you keep telling people what to do. So how do we shift your perspective and shift the way that you're maybe distinguish the opinions you have about the people who are reporting to you so that we can identify a practice listening, then we can actually collaborate. I can kind of see it like building on each other,
Ooh,
right?
I love how you just said that. Of course you said that. Yeah, to me that is why all three of these they work together.
Yeah, beautiful. And then go ahead.
Then the last one, really simple, redefine integrity. So essentially, we don't always recognize that we have integrity as there's a wrong way and a right way.
Yep.
And so when we work as a leader and we tell our either our staff and or our other leader or our team, like this is the right way and then this is the wrong way, what can happen is that that level of integrity is really more like morality.
Mm,
So then we kind of train the whole entire team to hold that level of morality about the right and wrong way. And then when a team member doesn't do it the right way, that means that they're wrong. And then we
mm.
get to like assess certain titles to them, like unreliable, thoughtless, a bad worker, not a good team member. And so I just invite us, like I invite the teams that I coach and the leaders I coach to instead define integrity as what's workable.
I love it. I love it. So
And
let's
that's it.
that's it. So three simple, say the whole thing. Say your
Yeah. So
headline.
three simple communication tools all leaders need to succeed.
One,
Practice listening,
two,
collaboration, not control,
and three.
redefine integrity.
You heard it here first, folks. Shoshana French, intuitive business coach, communications specialist. She is leading. She's an expert and part of my Empowering Expert series, and is leading a webinar that is free called the very same thing, mastering communication. Now I forgot what the whole title was because I'm stuck on yours, but that's okay. She's leading a webinar, Mastering Communication. You want to get to be a part of that webinar. We will leave a link in the show notes so that you can register for it. If you can't make it, you can always watch the replay. So register for it anyway. And Sho, thank you so much for being here today. Is there anything else you want to say or leave? Like, how can people find you? Where do they find out about you?
Find me on LinkedIn, super easy, Shoshana French. But also, I just wanted to say, please buy Jen Koken's book. She's an amazing writer, and her book is on sale. So, and like she said, you buy it, send her the receipt, then she'll give you a free Kindle. Just
I
saying,
will just say twofer. It's a twofer.
it's a
And
twofer.
this has been Java with Jen and Sho. Java with Jen and Sho. Ba-da-ba-bum. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week. Shoshana will be back and we'll be talking about the power of the pause. I always think of prairie dogs in Denver because I love the prairie dogs. I know you live in Denver, but whenever I was cycling and they'd like, boop,
They
I'm a
pop
prairie
up.
dog. Power of the pause. All right, we'll be talking about power of the pause next week. Tune in again. And don't forget to register for the Empowering Expert Series with Shoshana French live, where she'll be digging deep into some of these communication tools, get a chance to live coach with her, get a bunch more great ideas, strategies, so you too can be super effective.